Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. I wanted to give a garden update because gardens are always a work in progress. It is very difficult at times to give updates because you're usually out here doing something and you have to say, okay, let me go get my camera. And if you're really tied up, you may not feel like going to do that. But I said, okay, let me go ahead and do this since I'm out here. This is just after the rain too, by the way. I wasn't really out here to work at the moment. I was out here getting some arugula, some red Russian kale, and some spinach. And we're going to have that with some quail eggs. Quail eggs are said to be the most, or one of the most healthy if you like to eat eggs. We get a lot of quail eggs, and so you just you don't even have to really cook this. I like it as raw as possible. You basically just put it in the skillet, briefly put the eggs over it, and the time that it takes to cook the eggs, that's it. So you're not really cooking this much at all. Or if you want to just cook the eggs and have them on the side and just eat this like this, you can. But we just saute it real lightly, either in olive oil or grapeseed oil. And it's a very delicious breakfast, lunch, or even dinner if that's what you want to do, if you want to eat light. Quail eggs are very, very small, so you may have to eat a few more of them to make it work. But if you have a lot of greenery in it, it works just fine. But anyway, for the garden update, we've been constantly putting things in. So this is some of our red Russian kale here. That's very little of it, by the way. We have more that we've planted while the season will still allow. We have lettuce that's starting to perk up really nice. We didn't get started as early as we would have liked to. When you're transitioning from a new place, it's always a little more difficult to get established early in the season. Now, if you see this red lettuce here, let me tell you what's going on with this. I'm sorry. You have the lettuce, and then you also have this. This is what some people would consider a weed. Okay, they call it pigweed. I don't know why, but it's very tasty as well. And so that's why I didn't take this out of the pot, because when those get really big, they taste just like spinach. Okay, they have other names as well. Lamb's quarter is another name. It's really weird that they would call it either pigweed or lamb's quarter. That's just strange. But I didn't take those out in the de-weeding process because they too are food that tastes like spinach. That if you go to eattheweed.com, you will see that they are included amongst edible weeds. Okay, so we have spinach there. We have various greens growing. Some of these haven't had anything planted in them yet. We've been just you see these pods here. We already transplanted most of these into a little area over there. Okay, we have some things that are growing directly in the ground too, right? But these hadn't sprouted yet. But since the rain, we've had 2 days of rain, we come back to the tray and there you are. They have sprouted. So those will be transplanted as well very soon. Okay, kale here. You see the seedlings that are popping through. Okay. And then we have some rhubarb, very young rhubarb or Swiss chard. Okay. Now this is that tasty arugula that we have that we're putting in our eggs. So it is. I've never grown arugula before, but I see why a lot of chefs use it. It tastes so good. And so I want to grow more. This is the first time we're growing it there. We have other things that are very young still. We planted onions early in the season. So here's some more Swiss chard, some more lettuce there. Then we have the sweet peas that are growing in those, and they're going to climb up this trellis here. Okay, there we have other onions, and then we have some garlic as well. I'll get to all of that in a moment. We are using these raised bins for This right here is very young. This is the first year, so this is asparagus. With each year or each season, they actually get a lot thicker. So right now they are in the very young stage. Okay, tomato plants in these raised bins here. Okay, tomato plants. And here are some more tomato plants that pop through with the rain. They will be transplanted soon. Okay. We put potatoes down in these. Yep, we put potatoes down in those, so we're going to have to add layers of soil to that as it continues to grow upward. These are carrots. As you see, they're in the little pots there, okay? And you just kind of, you transplant the pots. And they go right into the soil, and you can see what's going on. This is just a little patch of pumpkins. We weren't going to try to do anything like that this year, but we said, okay, let's just put a patch down here on the weed blocker and just see what happens, because we're just, experimenting with new things in this area. As you see, we keep trying to expand the area with more things, more layers. It's going to be about time to cut the grass again soon with the rain. We're going to have to put that on hold, of course. Expecting, I believe, 2 more days of rain. This is the area we prepared just, again, just to have additional space for growing greens. We only planted in one section of this for now. This right here, we planted squash. Okay, as you see, there's the squash. And we have some more carrots there. And we have some honeydew there. Okay, honeydew there. So I'm just going to take a little walk over here to show some other things. Like I said, we do have to get around with the grass cutting soon, especially within the bins. It's going to take some time for these to pop through, but we planted ginger here and we planted turmeric here. But again, it's going to take some time. No, I'm sorry, the ginger's over there and the turmeric's here, okay? Well, we'll see when they grow. I think it's the other way around. We had a lot more turmeric than we did ginger. So yeah, that is the turmeric over there. And this is the ginger here. Okay. Now right here, next to the ginger, on the other side of these 2 poles, we have garlic. Okay. That's garlic. And then we have green beans here. One little neat trick that we use, in which we didn't do that for the turmeric and the ginger, as you can see with that little snafu, is we use plastic spoons and forks because it's a lot less expensive to go that route. When you buy the labeling things that they have, they charge a lot of money just for a few labels, and I'm like, are you serious for a piece of plastic? And so we just write our labels right on the plastic spoons and forks. Get them at the dollar store, save yourself a ton of cash. We even use, for our pods, sometimes we use the little plastic cups to put the pods down inside of. And that helps out a lot as well. You always want to think of ways to save money when you are doing gardening. Okay, so over here around this tree, we finally got around to planting around this tree. Even though we have all of this mulch here, in the areas that we plant, we actually plop our soil right in those spots. So it's not just sitting down in wood chips. What we have here is pumpkins. We decided to come over here and plant pumpkins. Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't pumpkins. This is butternut squash. The pumpkins are over there. Butternut squash. Okay. A lot of these vining plants look very similar, so you got to remember, of course, the fruit once it bears, it's going to tell you what it is. But yeah, this is the butternut squash here. And the reason these were not planted is because at the time we were planting them, they hadn't come through. They were still like in this stage here, where you couldn't see anything, but the rain brought out 2, 4, 6 more, you see. But as you see, we have a lot planted around this tree. This tree gives off some very interesting looking flower petals. I'm not sure what kind of tree it is, but it's very pretty. Very pretty. Look at that. There are some very beautiful plants and trees on this property. Look at that. Very, very pretty. And of course, we research all of these things because we are intrigued by Yah's creations. Look at that. That's a beautiful flowering tree. Now, some of you may already know what that is. We don't. And so it's a learning experience for us as well. But anyway, this is the area where we planted butternut squash around the base of a tree. Okay, so I didn't plan on being out here this long, but I figured I should go ahead and do this. We're working in various areas of the yard. There were a lot of rose bushes on the property here too, and they are starting to bloom. And everyone has their little areas that they're working on. And my mom is creating something here. Okay, so she's still working there. She's also working around this tree here. And we are all working, okay? This, for the most part, this is my area. It's kind of like a shared area, but it's the area that I've chosen. I did this. We're not finished with it yet. We have to straighten up some of the bricks, but I decided to put goldfish in this little thing here. And that's a solar, what you call a solar pump there. Okay. This was already here. And there were a lot of plants already here when we got here. Like this is lemon balm right here, and it makes a very good tea. Okay, you can mix it in your lemonade if you want, but you can also eat the leaves. They're very tasty. Very tasty. The children are always picking them a lemon balm, and they eat them. And when you smell them, they smell just like lemons. Very, very lemony. Okay. I planted some lettuce in this area here. And I also planted some eggplants right next to them. Okay. We got these at the store a couple of days ago. Those are citronella plants, of course. Citronella helps with mosquitoes. And again, the roses are blooming. Now these little pine trees, we're not exactly sure where we're going to put them yet, but we have them for now. They're safe in the pots. And that's where they'll sit until we select a place for them. And then we put in a lot of blueberry bushes as well, in various areas. Now, I want to show this here too. This right here we found at a consignment shop very inexpensively, and they only wanted $150 for it. So I said I want to have a gated entrance to my garden area, and so that's what we found at a resale shop. And all we have to do is just paint it when we get a chance, if we so desire. And then these little bushes here I thought would be a great accent to the entry point as well. Now these strawberry plants, I just got them just because we did plant strawberries, but I got them just to add more berries to the area, because we also planted raspberry bushes here and blueberries. Then we planted over here on this side. This is broccoli. We planted some broccoli over here, and these are ornamental grasses, of course. And around the sides of them, because it's going to take some time for them to get to their desired height. But if you see those seedlings there, I said, well, since the pots are going to take, they're not being used for anything but ornamental grass right now. It's going to take some time for them to get to their point, so we just planted carrots. So you see the carrots along the side of the ornamental grass. And then right here, We have zucchini. This whole section here are zucchini plants. And then we have some just Lima beans right there. Now these little pots I just got really cheap at, I forget what store it was, but just to add color to the garden area. And then more raspberry bushes there. And another blueberry bush that we haven't transplanted yet. But again, then we have gooseberries as well. We left a little what do you call it, the little cardboard that they came in as an identifier of where they are. More blueberry bushes and gooseberries. Yeah, there they are. And so this is what we have going on for those of you who are asking for a garden update. We're just kind of utilizing spaces that were already established here. Well, as a matter of fact, there's another area. I might as well walk over here too. Around that tree we have, I planted some watermelons, and we will see how that goes. And so, come over to this area here. Then I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This area here, we have broccoli and cauliflower, and we have some more spinach. Okay, more spinach. These are a lot smaller and younger, but every area that we are growing various things. There are a lot of flower bushes that were already here, and so we're just happily watching those open up. Now those we bought, we just haven't had a chance to transplant them yet. Here are a couple of fig trees. We haven't had a chance to transplant those either. Just all kinds of flower bushes that are opening up, and the children are rather enjoying that. And they love nature and what nature has to offer. Very pretty. And so this is my garden update. Again, it's after the rain, so it's a bit wet out, and so things are looking wet, as they should, and it's also encouraging things to open up for us. So there we are, the garden update. Thank you for watching, and as things progress more with the growing of the food, which is the most important part, we will stay tuned with that as well. We're going to be establishing an area for herbs as well. Nothing but herbs. Herbs are very important. All of this is very important because we feel like what they are selling in stores, as we have said for many years, is just not good for us. Many of us are trying to repair years or decades of damage done to our bodies by the food industry. And so that takes time. That definitely takes time. And so it is well worth the effort for your family to do this. And we encourage you all to continue on. And with that, I will say shalom.